What's up, everybody? This is the ReadyUp podcast. I'm Dan,
I'm John.
and let's see, what are we talking about today, John?
All right, we're going to be talking about Project Bluebeam, big conspiracy theory. A lot of interesting stuff involved in it, so it'll be a lot of fun. Before we get started, don't forget to smash that like button and big red subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications. Stay in the loop for future fascinating content from us and everything from aliens to politics. And let us know in the comments what you think about this topic. We're gonna have a lot of different facets of Project Bluebeam we're gonna go over. So definitely let us know in the comments what you guys like and what you guys think about the conspiracy theory. Do you believe it or do you not? So let's go ahead
Let
and get
us
started.
know. Hold on a second. Let me full screen this because I didn't. And pull that back. Cool. Alright, so Bluebeam is pretty much like the conspiracy theory of all theories. It's like implements a little bit of everything from like harp. It pulls in religion. It's everything. It entails everything pretty much. Um, basically,
It's like the
uh,
culmination of a lot of different theories out there. I mean, you could maybe even tie it back if you really wanted to like Knights Templar shit and Freemasons and shit like that. You know what I mean? This is the power elite's ultimate goal. You know what I mean? So that's really where it's kind of the culmination of what they, you know what I mean? The New World Order,
yes,
boogeyman type. The powers, the hidden secret, shadowy organizations and stuff like that. Their ultimate goal.
yep. Basically, it's just to get everybody into a one world government is
Hmm.
what it ultimately boils down to. So, um, if you don't know what it is, basically it is a, I guess, staged alien invasion slash rapture if you're a Christian, um, to where there's going to be an epic like light show, if you will, in the sky, um, like a what am I looking for? Like holographic kind of light show. So it'll look like an alien invasion if you're atheist. It'll look like a rapture if you're Christian, and it goes as far as even like pulling people into the sky. I'm not sure what technology that would be, but um, as far as the uh, projector light show itself, I mean, I think that definitely is doable. I know. I think they planned on doing it to get Fidel Castro out of office, or out of power at one time,
Hmm.
and they planned it in the Middle East as at one time too. They never
Yeah.
went through with it, but
Yeah.
I have.
Essentially, I mean, a lot of this basically came about in 1994 through a Canadian journalist or conspiracy theorist, whatever you want to call him, Sergei Monast, is where a lot of this stuff. This is how the public started to become aware of what's going on. It was through this guy. You know what I mean?
And
And
he killed
and
himself.
yeah, along with another unnamed journalist, supposedly too as well. They both had heart attacks. So or heart attacks, however you want to
It
look
was
at
like
it. So, I mean,
same week
uh,
heart attacks.
yeah. But obviously, I mean, it's pretty funny in ways because the guy looked funny. I mean, he looked like your typical conspiracy theorist. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy looked like he was really out there when you look at him in the interview that he was on some national Canadian television show or something like that. If you look it up, it's just so I think that's where a lot of it people just write him off like, oh, that guy's clearly crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then just based off of that, and some of the stuff he's talking about too is like, I mean, this is a very very hard to digest like. You know what I mean? Like the hard to wrap your mind around type conspiracy theory because it's just it's bananas when you
Well,
fully
definitely
dive
because
into
you're
it like at the very end. You know what I'm
you,
saying? Like
yeah.
most of the tenets leading up to it, it's like, okay, well, that's actually even happened. You know what I'm saying? So like, but then once it gets to a certain part, you're just like, what? Like, so I think it's a very easy to write it off. You know what I mean? But if you really dive into it, it's fascinating because of
It
some of the
is.
stuff that's happened through the steps and stuff like that, and some of the tenets of it or parts of it. could definitely are definitely plausible. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Um, for example, like step one of this, okay, which we're really diving into this. Step one requires the breakdown of all archaeological knowledge. Okay, so think about how many times in the past 40, 50, 60 years, right? There's some type of, expedition, an archaeologist or dig in looking for dinosaur bones, and they find piece of Noah's Ark. You know what I mean? Or they find some, you know what I mean, biblical, era, thing or something like that. That's like, oh wow, this actually confirms that this actually did happen. You know what I mean? There's actually a lot of proof of different things like Jesus did walk the earth, Dead Sea Scrolls, things like that. You know what I mean? They uncover.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine this: a bunch of earthquakes happen, right? And in the it actually says a faking earthquakes, but I mean, you could actually just jump off the tail of an earthquake. You can go to Afghanistan and just sit there for 3 months. You're going to feel a big ass earthquake at some point. You know what I'm saying? And so, essentially, what it is you fake new discoveries, right, at different points across the world, right? And then these discoveries, you know what I mean, fully explain the error of all religions, right? How they're all misguided or misdirected, and it's really this thing, right? The New World Order religion, essentially, right?
Right.
So that's essentially what you would need to do if you were going to create a global religion. You got to discredit all the religions that are already out there. You know what I mean? So that's essentially what step one is. So I mean, you could see where that would, you know what I mean, could be a plausible thing in terms of just a on paper plan, I guess. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like they're trying to get it to it's Satanism or like a worship of man kind of religion is kind of what it alludes to. So
Yeah.
you said so is that's like legit? Like how many earthquakes did you experience in the Middle East? I'm just curious. I didn't really know
It
it was
just
a thing.
randomly happen all the time in Afghanistan. I mean, you're in mountains.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? How many of
It's just
those
weird.
mountains could are a volcano? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
True.
Like, and just boom! Oh shit! That sucks. Like everybody's dead around here. You know what I mean? Like that could happen. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of earthquakes and stuff over there.
Right.
Um, yeah. Someday I'll tell you. Maybe tell a story about the one that was that happened over there that wasn't an earthquake. We thought it was because it was so typical that earthquakes are going to happen. That big ass bomb is very close to an earthquake. So, anyways, one thing I want to point out though that's an example of this is the Shroud of Turin. Okay, which is believed to be a genuine shroud of Jesus, opposed to the medieval forgery, what have you. So essentially, it's one of those things that can prove or disprove, you know what I mean, types of things that have been found. So if you were to purposely implant these things, you know what I'm saying, and
Mm-hmm.
you would obviously have to have scientists on board and different people to like get a consensus, kind of like how global warming and climate change is right now. Whether if you're not part of the cabal, you ain't getting the funding. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You're either in or you're nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're whatever your opinion. If it's not in line with everybody else,
Then
it's
they're gonna
you're
go
out.
to destroy you. You're gonna be made to look
Exactly,
the fool.
exactly. So,
Yes.
um, anyways, yeah. So that's essentially step one. And then now step two is really where it starts to get bananas. You know what I mean? And that's
This is
that's
the
where you were
space
alluding
show.
to. This is the space show essentially. So step two involves a gigantic space show where you got three-dimensional holographic laser projections, and it essentially being beamed all over the planet. Now they've alluded to in some of the stuff I was reading about satellites being able to do this potentially. That you're essentially projecting it like within 60 meters of the salt layer of the Earth or something like that, or the atmosphere or something like that. Um, and I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really understand a lot of this stuff, like what they're talking about. Like, you know what I mean? If this is really true, you really need somebody that has some type of scientific, you know, uh, understanding. You know what I mean? Of like deep understanding of atmospheric. You know what I mean? Like, how would you make a projection actually beam across
Right.
the Earth, but not look like a projection? That's really the key element of step
Right. It's
two.
got to
Is
look legit.
it has to look like God is coming out of the sky, essentially,
But
to everyone on Earth, where you literally just imagine walking outside, and it's like that scene from Independence Day. You know what I mean? The
mm-hmm.
famous scene where everybody's just walking outside, and people are just like dropping their mail, and they're looking up, and there's these giant spaceships that are appearing out of the damn clouds, right? Imagine what that would be like, or World of Worlds with Tom Cruise, if you've ever seen that movie. That's another one. You know what I mean? Where like you got these big giant things coming up, and you know what I mean, shooting, zapping everybody and shit. You would
Um,
need that effect.
that's
You know?
kind of what a lot of people are like alluding. A lot of the sightings that have been seen too is this these projections. Like there's been recent sightings of UFOs in Australia, South America. Even I know there's been parts of America still, but anyways, there's been a lot of recent sightings, and they're saying a lot of them they think are these projections of them testing these projections. There's one video, I can't think of the exact location of this one. I think this was the South American one, but it shows like the UFO. This dude's recording it. It's almost like a blue light, and it kind of goes through the mountain and disappears. And they're like
I know what you're talking
projection.
about. I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but a lot of these allude to that. Well, that's kind of what they try to say
Mhm.
they are. Um,
Yeah, essentially that's what you're looking at is them probably messing with the beam is essentially what you're seeing, and then it goes away, and it's like, oh shit, I've just seen a UFO, but really it's just a big
right.
light. You know what I mean?
Now, I think that, I mean, that could be the case. I do believe Bob Lazar, and I believe we have UFOs, but I do believe that there can be projections. I guess it could be a thing. I think we could figure out how to do it. Um, but that's kind of my 2 cents on the projection part of it.
I mean, I don't know. Eh, I don't know the way I look at it. I mean, I go into this and it gets very in depth, with a bunch of mumbo jumbo, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like this stage is going to be accomplished with the aid of a Soviet computer that will be fed with quote with the minute physio psychological particulars based on their studies of the anatomy and electromechanical composition of the human body and the studies of the electrical, chemical, and biological properties of the human brain. And every brain has been allocated a unique radio wavelength. The computers are also capable of inducing suicidal thoughts. The Soviets, not worth. This is like Yuri from Command and Conquer, controlling everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's
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 true.
like the first thing like hit me. I'm like, holy shit, this is Yuri's revenge. Like did they just read the back? Did they just put the back of the fucking box onto this? You know what I mean? And just
That is.
perfect. You know, thank you, whoever the company is that makes that. You know what I mean? EA. Why NASA would use a Soviet computer when the USSR had to import or copy much technology from the West is not detailed. Okay, but so, and then essentially it goes into detail how this these radio signals, right, that are going to be sent these, that are going to go out. They're not just going to go out to every man, woman, and child, but you're literally going to be hearing things in your head. Okay, what they want you to hear, whether it's and it's going to be broken down by religious,
Yeah, I think this part
figures, right?
is
Okay,
far
but
fetched.
this is this is where it gets ridiculous, So if you're a Southern Baptist like myself, right? You're gonna be hearing Jesus talking to you, right? But if you're in the Middle East and you're in Baghdad, it's a lot, But if it's this, it's if you're Buddhist, it's Buddha or whatever, right? And somehow they're going to be able to determine what your predisposition for religion is. You know what I mean? And this is in the age of whatever the hell's going on in our culture right now, where people are self-identifying as bananas, and you know what I mean, and rainbow warlords and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's bananas. You know what I mean? So like
I think
it's
it's hilarious that atheists are going to hear Richard Dawkins.
oh yeah. That's the other one. That's the other one. That's that.
They
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
pinpointed a person for this.
Specifically, Richard Dawkins is
That's
the god of
amazing,
atheism, according to Project Bluebeam. So
bro. I want to
um,
hear Neil deGrasse. If I don't hear Neil, then I ain't listening to them voices. If it's not Neil, I'm gonna be pissed. The motherfucker's gonna tell me about the cosmos.
I mean, dude, could you imagine like the shit in some people's heads, bro? It's gonna be like Wolverine. Like what? Like what?
I believe in the God of the Marvels.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah,
It's
it's basically essentially it's telepathic electronic two-way communication, right?
yeah.
Is then now we're going into telepathy, and this is all phase 3. So this is going to be used to basically um, to begin the final phase, which is step 4, which is essentially making humanity think in alien invasions.
Wait, 1 second. Let's go back to step 3. One second.
Yeah,
So the people that believe in the spaghetti god, who the hell do they hear?
the
That
spaghetti
you know what
god.
I'm talking about? There's actually like a, it's like a what do you call it when like something's purposely trying to fucking fuck with you? Like the Onion does. Their kind of news.
Oh, like Duffel Blog and shit like that. Yeah, where they make up shit.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a
yeah.
religion like that that has a fucking spaghetti and floating meatballs, and that's their god. But I know there's people dumb enough to just flat out believe that.
Just a big spaghetti man, fucking meatball eyes talking to you.
Dude, it makes me think of the Poltergeist movie where the pizza starts singing. Maybe that's what they're fucking hear.
I wouldn't doubt
Pizza
it, man.
man.
There's that.
Pizza man.
Yeah, because it essentially says in step 3 that you're going to be speaking to your god
Telepathically.
telepathically using extreme low frequency waves, radio waves. Atheists will presumably hear an absence of Richard Dawkins. And then it goes on to include a claim that the elf thought projection caused the depressive illness of Michael Dukakis' wife, Kitty. like,
Yeah.
what the hell, man? You know what I mean? Like you started off so strong. I feel like on this
You've lost me with
conspiracy
step
theory.
3.
You know what I'm saying? Like you started off so strong at the like, damn, yeah, earthquakes, and plant and shit. I could see them doing that. You know what I mean? That could be some shady shit if you really put some time into it. You know what I mean? You could really pull some shit off like that. It might need to be done gradually over the course of like 30, 40 years. You know what I'm saying? Like some real Indiana Jones villain type shit. You know, but it could work. But then you get into this other stuff, and then it just descends into total
The
madness.
one thing I will say to defend Bluebeam is the reporter who died, Monast, and the other. A lot of stuff and just bullshit has been added into this theory. And it wasn't all his originally. People just started pumping shit after he died because this was supposed to happen in the 80s. It was supposed to happen in the 90s twice.
Yeah,
It was supposed to happen again in
it was supposed to
2000.
be implemented by 1983, then 1995, then 1996, then 2000 for sure it was going to happen, but nothing
Right.
happened.
And people started taking all this other shit and throwing it in the theory. Um, so there's been a lot of, I think, bullshit added. And step
I mean
three is
yeah,
bullshit.
and we'll step forward too. I mean, like it's essentially making everybody think like the rapture's happening or an alien invasion's happening or whatever, right? To scare the hell out of everybody, kind of like what I was alluding to with World of Worlds or Independence Day, or where you look up and it's like, holy shit, there's really actually like aliens coming down from the sky or whatever. And then somehow this is gonna allow you to be willing to accept the new world order. Like they're gonna have the solution to. Well, it doesn't really go into detail, but this was what I'm assuming. You know what I mean? They're
I
going to
think
provide some solution or safety net. You know what I mean, to save everybody. Um,
Reagan and Clinton both said similar, basically, stage an alien invasion and everybody would unite, which I think is true. I mean, I do think people would put their petty differences aside, but
it's like legit. You know what I mean? You went outside, you watched some aliens blasting people with
right,
blasters out in your front yard. Like, yeah, bro, it's you're fucking Team Human at that point.
right. All of a
You know
sudden,
what I mean?
yeah,
It's like, or else you're Bill Paxton in Aliens. You know what I mean? It's fucking game over, man.
you care a lot less if your neighbors are liberal or conservative at that point.
You
You're
don't give a
like,
damn. You know what I mean?
bro, we
You
gotta
got a
fuck
gun?
them up.
Hey, you got a gun? Like, we got aliens killing people in the front yard. Let's go.
If you're liberal, you believe in your second now. Like, motherfucker.
I mean, end of the day, that a lot of the, not to go on a soapbox on it, but a lot of our social issues and stuff like that is just a product of how free we are and how safe we are here. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Compared to,
definitely.
you're not dealing with these issues over in Afghanistan right now.
Right.
It's
They
very,
don't. Yeah.
there's a
They're
there's
not
a
saying
there's
don't
only a few
carry.
priorities on a daily basis that every single man, woman, and child, I don't give a shit if you're the prime minister, you know what I mean, down to the lowest dude at a tire shop, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's only a couple things that you're worried about every day, unlike people here, you know. So, anyways, I think the best part is that there's going to be a device to lift a bunch of enormous people up, like in the Rapture. UFO abductions are a test of this device. So this explains UFO abductions. Thank you, Project Bluebeam. And then the New World Order, according to Monast, I'd like to get into next because I think this is pretty interesting. Did you go through this part?
I don't think so.
So the book essentially detailed his 1994 book or his lecture, what have you, detailed what would happen afterwards, right? So once all this is complete, step 4 has fully been implemented, all this bizarre shit has finally happened. All people are going to be required to take an oath to Lucifer with a ritual initiation to enter the New World Order.
Oh, because
Resistors will be categorized as follows.
The light show, basically, after it's said and done, all the gods, this is in there, all the gods in the sky basically merge into one, and that's Lucifer. So if whether you were Islam, Christian, an atheist, it doesn't matter. It's all going to be one god, and that's Satan, Lucifer.
So, man, so it's going to be a lot of fun once this is implemented. Step 1 is Christian children will be kept for human sacrifice or sexual slaves. 2,
Joe Biden.
2, yeah, it's going to be like the Lolita Express, you know what I mean, like permanently. Number 2, prisoners to be used in medical experiments. Fun. 3, prisoners to be used as live-in organ banks, so they could just, you know what I mean, like take your liver. Oh, you know, you're still going and get another liver before you're dead. You know what I mean? But we could take a lot of other body parts from you. So essentially, I think there's like a movie like it's like one with Ewan McGregor that it's like he's on like an island. I think it's called The Island, and it's like that's what they essentially are. They're all clones, and they use them for like if you in the future you know spend a bunch of money to have a clone of yourself who like lives, you know what I mean, like you know what I mean? It's your same age, whatever, blah blah blah. So if something happens and you need a heart transplant, you have the perfect donor. Your clone has your heart. You know what I mean? So
have you watched Alex Jones talk about that? About the living organ banks?
No, no, I haven't.
He's
I actually
actually
haven't listened to him in a while.
it
But
was from a 2019, and basically he was what's the company that does abortions?
Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, Planned Parenthood. So basically, he was talking about Planned Parenthood and how it was one of the governors, and he was like, "We'll keep the babies, you know, alive. We keep them comfortable." And like he's using his voice, and it's fucking hilarious. He's on Joe Rogan doing this, but if you haven't seen it, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, but he's talking essentially how
some of them that he's been on. He's just so tested.
it's fucking amazing.
Some of the shit he says, prepare. I'll bet she smells like sulfur.
Oh my god!
Oh
Yes.
my god. Anyways, go ahead.
But no, this is actual clip. He shows the governor, the same one that was in blackface or whatever at one point in time, not too long ago. It was like 2019-ish. He got ousted. He was a Democratic governor, but anyways, he was in blackface, and fucking they kind of shoved him out after he came out and said what he said about Planned Parenthood stuff, basically, where he was like, he don't think the government should be involved in this, but only because he wants the doctors and the mother to decide what to do with this baby, even after the baby's born. Um, and basically, there was like he was talking about how there's like trucks that come up, they take the babies, even if they're alive, as long they deem them like something was wrong with them or something, but they don't have a name, so they're not a no baby at this point, no social, no name, and they put them in a fucking vehicle and keep them comfortable, and it essentially went into organ banks. That I believe that's legit. That's actually seems like a legit thing. Even the governor, I mean, you literally can hear him word for word what he says. Like, that shit's crazy.
That was on Joe Rogan?
Yeah, it's on, Joe Rogan had Alex Jones on there. It was like a 5-hour long podcast.
That's interesting. No, what, 5 hours?
Talked to fucking Alex Jones for 5 hours.
Well, I don't know if I can handle more than an hour.
Alex Jones he's a fucking, yeah. I like him, but
I mean, I've seen all of his
that's a
documentaries
handful.
and stuff back in the day. Me and my brother went through every one of them. And we were like taking notes and shit, dude, back in the days, like 10 years ago. You know, like had like a whiteboard and stuff, man. We looked like that meme where it's like the dude from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he's got like the maps and shit. He's going like bananas everywhere trying to like put the pieces of the puzzle together. That's we were getting into it, man. Like we were reading all the different. That's when I started reading the Communist Manifesto. I read like the Reagan diaries. I mean, John Locke's conservative theory and all that kind of stuff, man. Reading books written by George Washington and stuff like that, like the different memoirs and stuff of Jefferson and Adams and all these different founding fathers and stuff. But yeah, it was all because I was watching his shit. You know what I mean? Like those different documentaries and stuff. But it's also very. I think the biggest thing with conspiracy theories, I don't know if I've talked about this at all, but the thing that I learned from all that is there's a lot of really good information that you can come out of these conspiracy, whether you don't just write something off from a point of like looking at it. Like if you look at Project Bluebeam, for example, it's like, oh my God.
It's a lot to digest.
Some crazy shit, you know what I mean? Like it's right the rip, you're just like, there's no way this is true. You know what I mean? And most likely it's not. You know what I'm saying? Most likely none of this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
But there is a lot of truths in it.
But you'd be surprised what little facets of things could be true that might lead you to other stuff that's fascinating. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's one of those things when you look at a conspiracy theory, how they usually work. If you're watching one, like especially if you go through like I'll use one for example, like Loose Change. Remember the 9/11 conspiracy theory documentary called Loose Change, and it's all about shadow planes and stuff and hitting the World Trade Center, and we did it to ourselves. It wasn't terrorists. It was blah blah blah. It was the United States government trying to start a war in the Middle East with oil and all this mumbo jumbo, right? Well, if you watch that, it's the perfect blueprint for how you deal with a conspiracy theory, right? Or how you digest it, right? Is essentially if you were to go down frame by frame through one of these movies, right? Okay, look it up, verify it, right? A lot of times you can. In a lot of Alex Jones' documentaries, you can look up the bills that he's talking about, the legislation that he's talking about. You can go to the websites that he's talking about, the Tides Foundation. You can go to the, go all the way back to like simpler shit like the Rothschilds family's website and different things like that. And, get information that's legit, right?
Yeah.
But then where they go off the rails is when they are presenting you with questions, right? Or things that can't be explained. And then they give you the answer to that. Right, but without they assume. So and they use it like, so if no one was there, obviously it was fucking alien. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that, but it's very subtle and it's very tactful how they intertwine it. It's kind of like a global warming or climate change or whatever, climate change article. If you go through the article, you can literally take a pen, print out a climate change article, and then circle the words if, could, would, and should. You know what I mean? It'll be littered throughout it. And then you can literally break it down even further. You can literally, with a highlighter, you can take one paragraph of facts, because what they'll do is they'll make one paragraph of the temperature was 79.7 degrees here at this time, but last year it was 80.4. Therefore, if this keeps happening, then this should be a new ice age, blah, 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 blah. And that's essentially how they do it. And they just keep intertwining one paragraph of fact, two paragraphs of bullshit. One paragraph of fact, and then just loosely connect and trying to, connect those facts into the bullshit that they're assuming. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, long story short, if you just look at these things like that, you know what I mean? Like, you can still find, like, those little nuggets of information and stuff like that that's fascinating, you know what I mean? That's super interesting, like 9/11, like what did happen at the Pentagon and different things, and why was there not this or that, you know what I mean? It's interesting, So I think that with things like this, Project Bluebeam and stuff, they're fun as long as you look at it like that, you know what I mean? Don't just write it off because it sounds like a batshit crazy conspiracy theory, because it kind of is. But you might find some stuff in there like, holy shit, that's legit. You know what I mean? That could actually happen. You know what I mean? And then if you look further, you might even find shit where, damn, they actually even tried this shit somewhere or something. You know what I mean? Kind of like what you're talking about with the Fidel Castro,
Right.
Example.
Right. And with the points we've hit already on the living organ banks shit, the children as sexual slaves, all the fucking Epstein shit going on, Clinton, fucking.
Well, I mean, and it's obvious. I mean, look at the Me Too movement and everything else. No matter where you stand on all this stuff, I mean, it's ridiculous the shit that goes on to people in Hollywood. You know what I mean? And it's just a result of people with absolute power are going to be, are going to be corrupted absolutely. You know what I mean? Essentially, it's when you have that much power, Clinton and all these different people and stuff that are up there, that are tied to Epstein and was it Prince Andrew or something like that, and God only knows. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll guarantee it's not limited to liberal Democrats. I'll tell you that.
Oh, no.
I will guarantee you there's some Republican, whatever side of the aisle you fall on, there's going to be dudes involved in that shit if they're up at the top. There is no way you sit down in D.C. for that long, you know what I mean, and you're still a public servant. There's no way. You can't survive
there. Did you see the media where they came out and basically questioned Trump about QAnon and...
No, I actually didn't get to see this.
So they said, so... what do you think about QAnon kind of thing? And he was like, well, they like me,
give
so I like them.
Give everybody the overview on the QAnon thing real quick before you do that. Like, what is it? What is QAnon?
So, it's basically a group, kind of how Anonymous always was, where they're just, they look into whatever and basically bringing truth to the light, and a lot of it right now has to do with pedophilia and adrenochrome, which is kind of basically the ultimate elite one. Adrenochrome, it's who came out, Mel Gibson in the past came out and said adrenochrome is a currency in Hollywood.
So it's essentially, it's accusing many liberal Hollywood actors, Democrat politicians, high-ranking officials, being members of an international child sex trafficking, like the Epstein shit, essentially. Right. That's what that is.
And then, basically, the Q stuff goes even farther than just sex trafficking. It goes into, legit adrenochrome. So they are killing children for this, and it's a drug. It's the most addictive drug ever. It's actually a real drug. Like, that's legit. But
so it's on 8chan or N-chan?
So basically, yeah.
It was started on 4chan. Is where it was started. This whole thing. It's supposed to be a far-right conspiracy or something like that. Okay, yeah, this is wild. The only reason I knew anything about it at all, or just seen it, was just because of that whoever that was that posted that poll on Twitter just recently. Yeah. That was like, what is the biggest threat to America, whatever, and it was like Antifa or QAnon, and I'm like, what the hell is QAnon?
Yeah, that backfired on them.
And then everybody voted Antifa because it's obvious, right. I don't know. I didn't know what the QAnon was, but
right, QAnon is not a threat to America. It's basically a liberation. It's we want freedom still. That's what QAnon wants. It wants freedom. Still, like, it loves America. That's why when that reporter come out and questioned Trump about it, Trump was like, well, I hear they really like me, so I like them. And then their next question to him was kind of like, so you believe that there's a bunch of pedophiles and cannibals? And Trump's like, well, what's wrong with getting rid of pedophiles? Like, if that's what I'm doing, what's wrong with it? And that's kind of all that went out. So a lot of the Q people think Trump is kind of using some different keywords and stuff like that, because like hours later, Trump took a picture in front of like a pizza shop, and that's like the Pizzagate shit. And
a lot of this stuff is
he could
coming
be
from
subliminal,
Salon.
but
Yeah, like if you go to the wiki on a lot of this stuff is coming from Salon.com articles and
yeah, right.
stuff.
Now, the fact that it was in the media was really cool. Like, that was cool.
Listen to this. What does QAnon believe? QAnon is based upon the idea that there is a worldwide cabal of Satan-worshipping pedophiles who rule the world and control everything. They control politicians and they control the media. They control Hollywood and they cover up their existence, and they would have continued ruling the world were it not for the election of President Donald Trump.
Trump is like supposedly their fucking ultimate fucking thorn, because he's been ousting the fuck out of sex trafficking rings. It sounds wild, but when you look at some things, there is some truths, especially with the Hollywood shit. Like, there's a lot of weird shit happening in Hollywood now.
Hold
What is?
on. So there's this thing called the storm, right? The storm is coming, right? So what is the storm? According to Vox, great website, super honest journalism going on over there at Vox. So shout out to Vox. Followers of QAnon believe that there is an imminent event known as the storm, during which all of President Donald Trump's enemies, included, I love how this is the first name on the list, Representative Adam Schiff and others, would be arrested and executed for being murderous, child-eating pedophiles. They eat children too?
That's the adrenochrome shit, I believe.
In November 27, Costa pointed out that QAnon had predicted that John Podesta, the chair of Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign, would be arrested if the military would take control, followed by riots being orchestrated to prevent more senior officials from also being arrested. Man, they're just going to send them all to Guantanamo. A bunch of Hollywood actors, like, so I'm guessing, like, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks has fucking made that list
already.
already.
Tom Hanks is done. See you later. Oprah, she's got to go. Hillary Clinton, she's got to go.
Oprah's actually got had a case where I think it was the headmistress or headmistress of her school was fucking doing pedophilia related things with children, and she came out and said Oprah knew everything that was going on.
This stuff's so much fun. This is hilarious. I mean, who are the sources for any of this?
That I can't answer. I do not know.
So yeah, fun times with whatever that is.
Q is the source.
So
that's all I know.
I'm assuming Epstein was part of that whole thing that just went down. So storm, supposedly. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, some of it's a little wild, for sure.
So one other thing, circle back to Project Blue Book real quick. I'm just going over my notes here and trying to remember. One thing about we were talking about, Manasse, Sergei Manasse, and there was supposedly another Quebec journalist or conspiracy theorist that was killed too as well. That's not named. I don't know how you could know somebody's been killed, but they're not named. So the whole
other journalist, like,
it's very weird, right? It's like it's noted in everything. You go to all the different, source that you can find on this stuff, and it's a lot of this stuff is gone too. So I think if you're really going to dig into something like this, you got to go back into the. I think we have to go back to the Wayback Machine. You know what I mean? And then look for older articles. You know what I mean that have been archived because some of this stuff's just been removed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sites that are no longer around. I mean, you think about we had ReadyUp Gaming. We had what, like 800 blogs or something like that. We turned the site off. That shit's all gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Unless it was saved on the Wayback Machine, it's gone. You know.
Right.
So, anyways, there's also a lot of mention. The thing I wanted to go back to is a lot of mention of the Canadian government kidnapping Manas's daughter, and supposedly,
I seen that.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, did you see that too as well?
Mm-hmm.
And she's supposedly gone or something like that, like his daughter. Like they can't find his daughter or something like that. So I didn't know if you had looked at anything further on it. I couldn't really find anything else on it. You know what I mean? That a lot of the stuff that's on there, like I said, is gone.
The 1
But
percenters ate her.
huh?
The 1 percenters ate her.
It's a possibility. Maybe she got sacrificed. But no, that's it's pretty wild, you know, because like if you know if that was true, right? You know, dude has a heart attack and then his daughter's kidnapped at the same time, disappears. I mean, that's
It's very strange.
it's hard for 1+1 not to equal 2. You know what I mean? Like when things like that sort of happen. So, anyways, just kind of interesting. So, like, I think you look at how crazy the theory is, but like if it was all completely, if it's all completely bullshit, then why mess with the dude? Why potentially mess with the dude if that was true? You know what I mean? If that really was, if there was like some shenanigans going on there. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree, especially with a story like this because it's so easy to make fun of. So fucking easy.
Yeah,
you can make it look foolish
all day long and just laugh at it.
Right. So if there ain't truth to it, then
like Sasquatch like story.
Right.
Nah, man, I seen Bigfoot. I'm telling you. I was at the local Dairy Queen, and I looked back there in the yonder. I swear to God, I seen Bigfoot. But yeah,
I was watching Mike Tyson's podcast, and he had a dude on there that claimed to see a Squatch. Tyson was like, "You ain't see no fucking Squatch," and dude, I was in tears. You ain't see no fucking Squatch.
So yeah, all in all, very interesting. I'd love to see what other people have. So definitely, you guys that are watching, let us know in the comments what you guys think about Project Bluebeam. Which parts of these do you think are that could be true, and if you have any links or have any anything that we missed or didn't go over, definitely let us know in the comments for sure.
Yeah, if there's something that some other source or something that further proves it or negates it, like, I'd love to read it
too. Well, it doesn't matter. Either way, that's the fun stuff about going over this stuff. It's just kind of discovery and seeing what kind of stuff you can find out there.
I have a open mind to most of this stuff. Step 3 is fucking loony in my opinion, but I can see a lot of the other
like
ones.
The men who stare at goats type thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like where you're basically, what was that shit that we just watched something or talked about it not too long ago with the, where they're basically, that one guy's talking about them the secret program, the telepathically, you know what I mean?
The fuck was that?
God, man,
I can't think of it.
But yeah, but it reminded me a lot of that. So this isn't like something that's so far-fetched because it's the first time it's ever been talked about or like portrayed in some way, in a realistic fashion. There's tons of other things or military potential, conspiracy theories and stuff like that about this kind of stuff. So with telepathic control or projected thoughts or talking to each other and stuff like that, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's like one of those things. It's like, what, if you can think it up, why not fucking try it? Or try to make it happen. It's like, that's the only fucking way scientists are going to get their shit together and make lightsabers. You know what I mean? I mean, at this point, it's getting ridiculous. It's 2020, man. Like, I'm sitting here.
I thought I was going to have a lightsaber by 2000.
I'm 38, bro. My time to be a Jedi is like severely falling, you know what I mean? Like behind here, the power curve to become a Jedi. You know what I
I
mean?
just want
So
to
like,
force choke a bitch.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and then of course, you got to you got to start being able to lift rocks and shit. You know what I mean with your mind. That's next,
Mhm.
right? So, but yeah, so you fucking lightsaber scientists. But yeah,
So
great,
yeah,
great, great. It's a really interesting one, but I don't think there's really been anything new on this. I feel like it's kind of a dead conspiracy theory for the most part. I don't really see anything new coming. I mean, they took out the one dude and whoever, maybe okay, maybe both guys. Apparently, whoever the other guy was, I don't really know what his contribution was. The uh, the secret journalist that was taken out.
right.
Um, but yeah, I don't.
But everybody knew he had a heart attack.
Yeah,
You know how weird that is.
so
Didn't know his name.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't see anything else
it's weird.
coming out about this anytime soon. But if something does, love to talk about it. So
Yeah, I mean, we are seeing. I mean, I guess some stuff in the skies, but yeah. Um, harp also is supposedly plays a thing in that. And then I know you shared an article with me with the 6 water spouts thing.
oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's awesome. We can
So
talk about that.
yeah, so the 6 water spouts that were filmed out in the Gulf of Mexico recently. It was on Fox 35 or Fox 5 New York or whatever, wherever we watch this on. I mean, you can probably pull it up there. But essentially, can you pull it up on there?
I can't put it on there. We'll get
Okay,
removed.
okay,
Plus, it won't carry the sound over.
gotcha. But if you look it up, you just look up, go in Google, look up 6 water spouts. Just type that in Google, and essentially, it's a quick 24-second clip of a guy on a boat, and he's essentially filming these water spouts. It's almost like what you would imagine like a tornado. You know what I mean? Like what a tornado looks like, almost, right? But just more, not fanning out like this, like a
Yeah,
tornado would.
it's a little
It's
thinner.
just thinner. You know what I mean? Coming down, but when he zooms in, it gives you that image, of what you would think Project Bluebeam would need to look like. That holographic projection would need to be this surreal to the point of where it'd be like, holy shit, because it looks like an alien invasion or something like that. These water spouts, this natural occurrence
It
looks like
does.
some shit that looks like the world's about to end. Whatever's coming is not good. You know what I mean? So,
And to tie that in to actual Bluebeam, because Harp supposedly is tries to control the weather to make these kind of events to use them as a war act,
well, they
or
use it for Ranger
even
School. It's how they make it rain.
yeah, right, cloud seeding. Cloud seeding's legit.
Yeah,
That's been
but
proven
they only do
legit.
it right there at Ranger School. That's
Right.
what they do. The whole program.
We don't do it anywhere else.
To fucking make me miserable in all 3 phases of Rangers.
They used cloud seeding at the
I'm fairly
Olympics.
convinced they have something, bro. There's no way that you time it that well every fucking time. There's no way. There's no way. Train up straight. Jump into the field. Within 30 seconds, it's raining. It doesn't stop until you get out, bro. Every time. Continue.
They legit could have been, because clouding seeding has been proven legit. Now, using or creating basically hurricanes or insanely like deadly storms and using them as war acts is kind of the direction that people go in the conspiracy realm with harp. That's not proven at all, and neither are chemtrails. And that's kind of plays a huge part in it as well. But
Yeah, it's a
it's
big part
kind
of
of
the drills because of the frequencies they're sending out and all this other stuff. Yeah, it's really bizarre stuff. I mean, at
yeah.
some point, I'd like to get a lot more information on that. That's one of those things that there is a lot of info. That's a bigger, I think more longer standing conspiracy theory in terms of being more fleshed out. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't mind going over that at some point too. That's and let us know if you guys want to see us do something on harp. We could make that
Yeah.
an episode in the
Yeah,
future
I
too.
only mention it
Work up on it, so.
because it kind of it's a factor in Bluebeam. Like it is considered a part of Bluebeam pretty much,
Mm.
because as the
Oh yeah, think
fucking
about it.
rapture's
It's
happening
transmission.
above you, we got
Yeah,
deadly storms hitting, and
yeah. Well, think about it. It's what it's for. It's all these different
oh yeah.
frequencies and different things, so it's perfect. You know what I mean? It fits the
Hmm.
bill for one of the big major components of what they're trying to accomplish. The tools, if you will,
One
of
question
conspiracy
I
theory.
will ask: if you can put that kind of light show and projection on display in the sky, Why can't you put that light show slash projection on display as far as what your weather looks like outside? And if you can pull people up and beam them up, you can surely hit me with some fucking high powered wind to make your storm look legit.
Yeah, or something.
So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting.
so I just question why they need to control the weather that hard.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, you had some other articles, I believe, right?
yeah. I think the next one to talk
Talk about.
about is real quick is the AI.
Yeah, cool. It's the
So
oh yeah, the controlled
yeah,
plane that won a
yeah.
dogfight.
Yep. So there was a couple recent articles in the simulation arena, if you will, or simulation news that AI basically claimed a flawless victory, going undefeated in a digital dogfight with a human fighter pilot. So full simulation machine, you know what I mean, like what they use to train pilots and stuff. If they have to log a certain amount of simulation hours before they're allowed to actually jump into one of those planes and actually start, become a full pilot. But they had a dogfight essentially with one of their good pilots against this um, AI that's basically just wiped the floor. I think it was 5-0. It says here in this virtual tournament.
And
So
is this a like uh like you know how they do drones, but they control drones from a hub kind of. This
yeah, it's a,
isn't like that, right? This is like full AI.
no, this is full AI, man. Like
Okay.
you're this is essentially simulating. You know what I'm saying? Like you be in a virtual dogfight. You have like he has the 3D glasses on and the whole nine. The pilot does has all the real controls and everything right there, and it's like a fucking screen. But he's
Okay.
actually what he's seeing is 3D, like the plane, so he can look around and stuff. You know what I mean? When he's just like you would the normal plane, and it moves. The fucking seats move. I was
That's
part of the
fucking
National
sweet.
Center for Simulation here in Orlando. When I used to work for a cloud computing company back in the day. So I've seen some of these machines and stuff. They use them for truckers to learn how to go over ice and different things like that. So there's different simulation components for big companies and stuff like that. If you're going to be a trucker in Alaska, you know what I mean? Like you don't really want to be your first time having to deal with ice or a bridge collapsing or something like that. You know what I'm saying? To be in that moment, you can't train for that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of being able to do it in as real as possible simulation program. I use things like it in the military. We used them for shooting, and we also used them for like javelin school. Was primarily in the simulation. It was like a damn video game. You have the actual javelin, but it's all plugged into a computer. That's you know what I mean, making you like you're like in a damn video game.
Right.
But using
Yeah, this was a
the real
whole
weapon. So
tournament. That's awesome.
yeah, and this is a DARPA project, so Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and part of the Air Combat Evolution ACE program. So um, really cool stuff, man. Like there's some wild stuff going on right now. You know what I mean? So I felt like this was important just to talk about, because we were saying how bizarre and insane a lot of this stuff is that we were just looking at with Project Bluebeam. But then you look at something like this, and if you would have said something like this, 20 years ago, people would have been like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, there ain't no fucking way. You know what I'm saying? Like, that we're going to be able to build something like that or something that's that intelligent to be able
You
to,
kids
to
in your
be able
video
to
games.
yeah.
This
um,
ain't Ace Combat, bitch.
yeah, but I guess it's pretty interesting. I guess there was let's see, we'll another number of competitors. Four finalists: Aurora Flight Sciences, Heron Systems, Lockheed Martin Physics AI.
Yeah, Heron Systems is the one that won it all, I believe. They're the ones that uh, beat Lockheed and then faced the actual human F-16 pilot. Because
It's pretty
Lockheed
cool. They have
was one of
a
the
whole
favorites
video for it
going.
too as well. So pretty cool stuff for Ace Combat Evolution.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's pretty cool.
but you never know, man. We could be reading a story tomorrow about some crazy telepathic fucking machine that somebody fucking created in fucking Norway or something. You know what I'm saying? Um, you look at the stuff that they're that we've done, man. Like what was the thing? Can't even remember it at this point, man. We're going over so many different things. The damn anti gravity machine or what have you that they
Oh
have
yeah,
that they built. You know what I'm saying? Like that's insane. Like who the fuck came up with that? You know what I'm saying? Like I would have laughed at you. You know what I mean? Like you before that came out, that we could build some shit like that. So
Yeah, that's insane. Some of the stuff.
so do we want to get into our negative part of the podcast?
Like about Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With
Fuck
our friend
Facebook.
Mike or fucking Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, before you, I know you have an article you want to talk about. Before you do that, let me tell you, basically my
Oh
continued
yeah,
Facebook
what happened?
saga.
Yeah, Facebook saga with the moderators.
Yes. So, I finally was unbanned. We talked about that. I'm not banned. Well, technically banned. Um, I can still talk to all my friends. I can make posts. What I cannot do, I cannot send friend requests. I can accept them. I cannot send messages to somebody that's not on my friends list, even if they message me first. So, if I make a post with my shirts that got me banned, and someone says, I want said shirt, I cannot respond. And I can't tell them, you need to send a friend request for me to respond, because I cannot respond. So, I don't know how long this is going to last. They didn't give me a time frame. It literally just cannot happen. It's been since I was put on that 24-hour ban. This is not lifted. It's been over a week.
It's
I had 40 to 50 counts of hate speech
over
for
t-shirts.
t-shirts. Yeah, a lot of them got like 6 hate speeches per shirt, and some of them only said Trump 2020.
These people are
Some of them,
psychopaths, man.
some of them said
You're
Trump
an,
2020. Fuck your feelings.
I'm sorry, but if you're doing that, just so you know, like if anybody out there is connected in any way to these piece of shit moderators that are doing this, like you're not. Only thing that you're doing is proving that you're an absolute child and a psychopath. That you're going to be labeling shit hate speech. That's not hate speech. It's clearly not hate speech. I mean,
Not at
it's
all.
the whole hate speech thing and a lot of this stuff and microaggressions and all this other bullshit that they're constantly coming out. Like, what was the thing right now that's going on with it's systematic voter suppression is the platitude that they've came up with, or bumper sticker slogan. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? No one is suppressing anyone from voting. Literally no one. Get
At
your
all.
fat ass up and go and vote. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. Unless you're like in your deathbed, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you can't leave. Like, obviously that's that's super unfortunate. But who's for systematic voter suppression? That's not disabled people, you know what I mean, voter suppression or something like that. That's something that we can fix and figure out, right? But systematic voter suppression, who 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 dude, you can go right down the damn street right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Right when they were just doing votes the other day. You know what I mean? You could just go right down the damn street and do it. You know what I mean? Like, who is suppressing you? No one's being suppressed.
At
And
all.
it's crap like that. You know what I'm saying? But like, so if you go in and you're probably against mail-in votes, that's probably hate speech according to Facebook. Why?
Probably.
Because you're promoting systematic voter suppression. You see what I mean? It's ridiculous. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think Trump said it best. If you can protest in person, you can vote in person. Boom.
Absolutely. And what I was going to talk about is this article about Facebook spending years to ward off tampering on its site ahead of the November's presidential election, and now they're basically getting ready, essentially, in case President Trump interferes once the vote is over. And then it just goes into all this contingency bullshit, about what Mark Zuckerberg and all them are doing to ward off fake news and all this other stuff. And I mean, dude, think about all the fact checkers and stuff they have on there that are literally doing a terrible job, are flagging things that are factually accurate and purposely doing it, knowing that it's factually accurate, and flag it as fake news because it doesn't support their worldview. You
Dude,
know what I mean? It's
isn't
not
fucking
hurting Trump, so
Snopes?
it's got to go. You know what I'm
Isn't
saying?
Snopes like one person, like one guy? He's
Yeah,
the
something
CEO
like
of his
that.
company, and
Yeah,
he's actually, I had seen him in photos with Soros and shit. And they're supposed to be tight. But
it just goes back to the last thing we talked about. You know what I mean? Like post what the hell you're gonna post on here. You know what I mean? Like it's social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when you do things like label things as hate speech or violent speech that's actually not even fucking close, you're demeaning, you know what I mean, and devaluing actual real hate speech. You know what I mean? It's like, has no one heard of the boy who cried wolf story? Like it's
right,
ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like at that point, because like at a certain point when you're doing this bullshit, I don't believe anything you fucking say. So like for example, Don Lemon can come on tomorrow, right? And break with the fucking truest fucking story that indeed Donald Trump is a fucking alien, right? Sent from fucking whatever planet,
and you're
and
gonna hardly read it. You'll be like, yeah, it's bullshit.
I'm just gonna laugh and turn the fucking chin. I don't believe a fucking thing that comes out
All
of
right,
that guy's mouth. That guy's so full of shit and such a fucking lying piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like that. There's no way I can believe anything you say.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Nothing.
Yeah, you've
And
lost any listening. Like you're
when you
never
do
going to
this kind of
gain
stuff,
a listener.
exactly, all you're doing is you're also pushing people to become angry. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's all part of it. I think that's part of it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just
Oh,
like
it
when
could
any
be.
one of us go on Facebook, which I'm guilty of it as anybody else. You go on a Facebook and you just go and post some bullshit just to make some cheap political point. You know what I mean? Because it's expedient at the time and your side got a point, so you're just going to go score that bitch on social media real quick.
Oh
But
yeah,
tomorrow, then Donald Trump makes some dumbass mistake or says something stupid off the like some gaff, and then bam, that's up. That's the first thing the other side's doing, and
hmm,
it's this little tit for tat over stupid shit. But neither side's actually going to really take anything serious that the other side's saying when it is something serious. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm a supporter of Donald Trump, but if Donald Trump legit does wrong shit, you know what I'm saying, then he should be punished.
hmm,
If you're bad, you're bad. If you're
right.
good, you're good. You know what I mean? Like, but it's at the end of the day, like if you're doing something wrong,
And
like
that's
I want to be able to believe you, but I can't believe you when you make up shit. Russiagate, the Ukraine scandal. I mean, it was just holy cow, bro. It was it was so much uh, just hyperbole, and at this point, you know what I mean. It's led to just nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I supposed to believe when something really does happen? You've screwed yourself. You've actually helped him be
hmm,
able to do wrong shit by being turds and not telling the truth, withholding information, omitting information because it doesn't help your cause or it might cast a doubt on what you believe needs to happen because the end always justifies the means. With any these the mainstream Marxist media, it's the end justifies the means. Don Lemon can get on there and lie and not tell you the full story because at the end of the day, if it gets Joe Biden in office, then it's a victory.
that's all. It's not true news anymore. It's just spouting whatever you can to prop up your side.
It's like a baseball team ideology.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to get dudes on the Red Sox to talk shit, or fans of the Red Sox to talk shit about the Red Sox. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And then the Yankees aren't going to talk shit about anybody on the Yankees. And nobody on the Yankees wants to listen to anything the dudes on the Red Sox have to say. And the Red Sox, you know what I'm saying? It just keeps going back and forth like that. That's what I feel like it's like sports. That's what
Hmm.
Republican, Democrat
Yeah, it is a
shit.
lot.
You know what I mean? And I feel like we are moving past that to a lot of extent because of this Facebook stuff and because free speech is literally being suppressed by these
All
companies
right.
like
You
Facebook.
said
You know what I
free
mean?
speech, so I gotta throw this in here real quick. So, free speech is being suppressed. You're right, and they're doing it under the guise of hate speech for the most part.
Under the guise of hate speech, yes.
Yes. Now, if you go to what Joe Biden is running his campaign on, one of his campaign things, like I'm running on this, is for free speech. He wants free speech. It's the most hypocritical, fucking stupid shit I've ever read. Like, I'm reading through his campaign and what it's running on, and one of the points is free speech. I couldn't do anything but laugh.
I mean,
no matter how many times you say I'm running on free speech, it doesn't make it true if you're not. Like, you're not.
What's impressive at the end of the day is just the audacity of the hypocrisy.
It's insane.
Of people, But regardless, I don't, I don't really care like who you're voting for, Joe Biden, Donald Trump. You're voting for your fucking dog flower, you know what I mean? Whatever, but you need to be able to have free speech. And these platforms like Facebook and Twitter and stuff under, so was it Section 230 or what have you, whatever that section.
We talked about on the last podcast.
Yeah, we talked about on the last podcast. They're town halls, man. You shouldn't be punished because you made some fucking t-shirt. And now you can't, right. You're being basically shadow banned in the background.
And if I can be punished, then I should be allowed to sue.
By a cowardly organization like Facebook, that's standing behind their, Starbucks moderators, you know what I'm saying, that literally have no lives. That's why they're Facebook moderators. I'm sorry. But you've probably screwed up somewhere in life if that's what you're doing, is moderating for Facebook right now. I mean, could you imagine what kind of a person you would be at the end of the day if that's all you did was sit on Facebook and just ban things that you don't like? You got to be so salty. I'll bet you each one of them never stop complaining.
Oh, for sure.
All day long, bro.
Well,
all night long.
I'm sure 90% of what they read is complaints, and then they're just going to farther complain. They're just saying a bunch of negativity for the most part. I mean, I know at least 90% of Facebook is negativity. Like, I do negativity because I'm making fun of liberals all day, but
I can't do it. It drives me nuts.
I have to.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what happens, but hopefully your shit gets done. I wish there was some kind of escalation or something like that, or some. What do you do, man? What do you do? At this point?
I've already looked.
We just get smacked around all the time. Like, if you have any kind of conservative viewpoint, you know what I'm saying? You're just, it's just asinine. It's uncalled for. You know what I mean? And it's hypocritical half the time of just how these people act. You might as well be that Chicago mayor who's like banning protesters from just her block because her safety matters.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? So.
You can protest anyone else's neighborhood, just not mine.
Just not mine.
You hear that? Stay the fuck out of my neighborhood.
Fight the power, guys. Keep up the good fight. That's right. Keep walking, and out that way.
Fight the power over there.
Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna be watching Netflix. So, anyways, that's all I got, man. What about you?
I'm good. I just wanted to end it on a Facebook point.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, remember, like, subscribe, make sure to hit the bell for notifications. Stay tuned, and let us know in the comments what you guys thought of this episode. If you have anything to contribute, as far as like start the conversation down there, and then let us know what you guys want to see next. And obviously Harp is potentially one, and I know we have some other stuff cooking in the background too as well. So.
Definitely.
Appreciate it. A lot of fun.
Peace.
All right, guys.